All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with our media availabilities for today. Joining us now is Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny, you've certainly had your fair share of success here at Martinsville, including a win last spring. Can you just talk a little bit about your outlook for this weekend?
Looking forward to it. I mean, this is obviously been a really good track for us, but really the last 10 days or so, it's been like itching to just get back here because it's such a fun race for me, and obviously we have a lot of high expectations, and I come here just it's very similar to when I was racing in go-karts way back in the day, and like all the WK and Nationals would come to my home track, and it was like, all right, I've got a chance to beat them because I know this track, and it's kind of like that, it's the best comes to town, and even though it just feels like I race here every week, I don't know why, just my first lap on the track just feels like I've run a million laps here.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start here in the front with Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. With Gordon gone out of the picture, who do you consider to be your biggest threats, your biggest challengers here?
Myself. I mean, I don't know how many pit road penalties I've had at this racetrack. Why I choose to push it on pit road, I don't know, knowing that I've got the speed on the racetrack that we've shown. I think I've had at least 2 in the last bunch of races. I mean, just consecutively. So that's been a challenge. And last year in the fall race, I beat up my car pretty good trying to come back through the pack on the second time. Maybe it was the first time that I had a penalty. And so I think it's just me just kind of mentally, being a little bit more cautious on pit road and making sure that I've got a car that can finish the race with all 4 fenders.
Okay, we'll go to Bob, Nate, and then Claire.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Having won the Daytona 500, does that take any pressure off, kind of maybe needing to win here? And as far as pit road goes, is there a feeling that maybe you just make your lights so that you can't speed and just not push it on pit road, or can you not give up that type of spot?
Well, you can't if you're going to win, especially if it's the bonehead things that I've done. I've had my penalties early in the race where what does it really matter on lap 80 if you gain 1 spot on pit road? You've got so many laps to do it. So luckily most of my penalties have been early in the race, but still it takes its toll on the car to have to come through the pack multiple times. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is that we typically qualify pretty well here, so then we're trying to play some timing lines on pit road, and there's you can get a bunch, but you also can lose a bunch if you mess it up and speed like I have. So I think that really qualifying good is hurt us. It's put us in the position to give us the option to go for it on pit road at times when probably backing off would have been smarter. Well, it doesn't. It just, I mean, it makes me like hungry. I look at the next 6 races. I'm like, if I don't win 2 of them, like I'll probably be disappointed. So I just think that we're kind of getting in the swing of things. Minor Wheels relationships really, getting there. Even though we've worked together for a really long time, we're starting to get really on the same page and getting the cars like I like to drive them. So I'm pretty optimistic for obvious reasons, but really look at this point of the schedule as let's take advantage and get some wins and get some bonus points for the first round.
Okay. Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Denny, can I get away from Martinsville a little bit? I presume you probably haven't had too many drivers' council meetings yet this year, but one of the big topics of discussion before the Daytona 500 was about the purse money changing and not releasing the info as much anymore and how that would impact drivers' salaries. Have you heard any feedback from other drivers? Has it affected you? Have you guys noticed anything 5 races into the season about how things are being affected in terms of revenue streams?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it was meant to be an open book at the beginning between RTA and the drivers, or the teams and their drivers. I don't know that some teams were as forthcoming as maybe what ours were, but I think that really everyone had to just essentially renegotiate a fair purse amount, and I think that everyone's different. Everyone's all over the board, So I just, it's tough to say. I mean, I think that everything is better. The way that they've formatted the purse now, and it's kind of a linear line versus a weird-looking line. But I mean, I don't know. I think that some fans like to see that. I know us drivers, I think that we like to see purses posted personally. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter whether you post it or not. It's sometimes when you win a race, it's cool to see. I did good this week. So I don't know. But I think that everyone's different. Everyone's always been different. But I think that when this happened, it forced everyone to go back to the drawing board and figure out what was a fair amount, because the buckets got switched around a whole lot as far as purses are concerned. But I think in the end, we're all out here, and I think that everyone feels like they have a fair deal at this point. So it's all for the better, I believe. It's just my opinion. Yeah, we would like to see the numbers posted.
Is that something you guys might talk to NASCAR about?
I think they're considering it. I think if everyone knows what they're getting, I mean, I don't know what the benefit is from keeping it from the public. I don't know, but there's probably some kind of reason that I don't know about.
Okay, we'll go over to Claire and then back over to the right.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. It's really hard to believe that Kyle Busch hasn't won in any form of racing at Martinsville. And I sort of envision him coming to your office or coming to you or your motor coach and saying, okay, tell me more of your secrets. You share, but you're so dang good here, right? So is it hard for you to believe that people like Matt Kenseth say this place just drives them crazy, or that Kyle Busch, such a good racer, hasn't won here? And what can you teach your teammate about it?
I've been an open book to my teammates for sure, and I think that everyone's run better in the last few years for sure. It is hard to believe. My guess is that has a pretty good chance to change on Saturday about Kyle, because I think he is running this race, isn't he? Or is he not? Mm-hmm. So I'd say he's got a pretty good chance on Saturday. But he's been in position at times on Sundays, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. I mean, there's many tracks like that for me. I mean, he's won a few more races than what I have in my career, but there are tracks where I run extremely strong, but just never won at. So, but I'm an open book really to anyone that wants to chat, and as long as I'm not racing against them, if they're not my teammate, that is. So. But it's he's good, and he's a great short track racer. He runs late models all over the place, and wins a lot of races. So I'm sure he'll have his clock sooner or later.
Isn't there something you really keep for yourself? That you want to keep for yourself? Is there anything that you just, gosh, that one little tidbit?
Not keeping one or two things to myself, I feel like has cost me wins. I shared some things at Richmond with some teammates, and they went out and beat me with it. Recently in the last few years. So, but I just never been a believer of keeping something under my hat. I just feel like if we're a team, and that's what makes our Joe Gibbs Racing team so strong, is that I feel like if I ask Carl a question or ask Matt a question or Kyle, I expect them to give me the 100% honest answer and tell me everything. Don't leave this part out or that part out. And I just feel like if I do that same to them, then when I really need that information, I'll get it back. So it's cost me here and there, but I tell you what, probably the information I've gotten on other tracks has probably gotten me a win or two. So I think it all evens out.
Denny, over here to your far right.
Hey, Denny. Nathan Waters with the Fredericksburg Freelance Star. Short track racing, I know coming here brings back some memories of racing at Southside or South Boston. I'm wondering, for you, the appeal of those regional tracks, the short track, the atmosphere, all that kind of stuff. What's the biggest appeal to you? And tell me how that kind of molded you as a driver racing at tracks like that.
I'm not really sure what the appeal was. I mean, I just remember going, to my first race when I was about 5 years old at a local short track and just being, infatuated with some of the local stars, and just thinking if I could just make it to the top level at my local short track on Friday night, like I would be really, really happy. I'd feel like I'd made it. So, those tracks is what makes the sport. I mean, it's the home tracks is such a crucial part of NASCAR racing. It's where these young drivers that are coming up now are coming from, and really, I wish there was a healthier model. I think that NASCAR itself and the Cup Series, and it's kind of trickling down to the other series, has gotten good about watching costs and trying to cut costs here and there. But I think the local short tracks still struggle with car count, and that's something that wasn't a factor in the 90s and early 2000s, and now I think that some tracks struggle. And so how you get the fans to come out on a local Saturday, it's just, I think it's a different generation now. Everyone's on their phones, and whatever generation is that 16 to 25 now, or whatever you call them, they're into Snapchat and Instagram. They're not into the local short tracks quite as much, but it's important we keep those short tracks strong because that's the feeder series to get here.
What's the biggest thing you learned from running those tracks?
Biggest thing I learned is I had to fix everything I wrecked, and so I think that I was very patient back then, and I feel like I'm pretty patient now in not using up equipment, because even though I know I don't have to fix it anymore, I appreciated what it took to put it all back together.
Okay. We've got time for one final question over here on the left.
Yeah, Denny, Al Pierce from Auto Week back here in the ghetto. Well, it is the ghetto if you look, I know that the downforce package will not be a big factor here, but generally speaking, y'all happy with it so far?
We're happy. I think there's probably a group that's searching for more off, and I think that that'd be a great goal for us in the future. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, wherever it may be, to get these corner speeds even slower. Surprisingly though, looking at the lap times, I mean, we're 2 to 3 tenths off where we were last year with the same tire, and all we've done is change the aero package. So I don't know why speeds are a little bit slower, but anytime we can get the spoiler down or get it down in size, it's definitely going to help no matter what track you're at. So I think that overall, the majority, if not all, the drivers love the new package. It has given us the ability to see comers and goers, guys that take off at the beginning of the run and they come on back at the end. And that's just, it just feels like we're back to driving these race cars like we were 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
You got it.
Denny, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Good luck this weekend.